Hello guys, in today's video we'll be treating reciprocal approach. So reciprocal approach is a method of solving equation in one unknown. We have x. So this is an equation in one unknown. So how do we solve a reciprocal approach equation? First, we notice something here in this equation, that what this 8 is repeating itself, 42 is repeating itself, but we only have one value that is now repeating itself, which is odd. So this is how we solve it. Once we see the equation and we notice we have coefficient repeating itself like that, so and we notice that there's one odd coefficient, so we divide all two by the what, the coefficient of what, the odd number. Like we have 80 here, we have 80, we have 42 here, we have 42 here, but we have 29. So what is the coefficient of this 29? So the coefficient of this 29 is s squared. So the first method is what? Divide 2 by what? By s squared. Why? Because it is this 29 that is now repeating itself. So we will divide by the coefficient. So when we divide, we have what? 8s raised to the power 4 over what? S squared minus 42x raised to the power 3 over what? S squared plus 29x raised to the power 2 over what? S squared plus 42x over what? S squared plus 8 plus 0. So after dividing, you get this 8s squared divided by this, we have what? 8s raised to the power 4 divided by this, we have 8s squared minus what? 42x plus this one will cancel this, 29 plus what? 42 over what? 1x here will cancel 1x here, so we have 1x left. So we also have what? This one divided by s squared, we have 8 over what? S squared. So now the next thing is what? We collect like time. Collecting like times. So we have, we have s squared here, we have s squared here, so we collect like time. So we have 8 over s squared, no, 8s squared plus 8 over s squared minus 42x plus 42 over x plus 29. Right? So now the next thing is we factor out something that is common there. So what's common here? Like we have 8. 8 is common to both numerator and denominator. So we bring out 8, we have s squared plus what? 1 over s squared, like this. So when we multiply this back, we have this here. So we now bring out this thing, we have 42 here common. But when we bring out 42 plus 42, and we have x plus 42, we will now have the negative for this. So we introduce negative. When we introduce negative, this one will also be negative. That is, minus times minus will give us plus. So we now have 42 times what? X, which will give us minus 42x. So minus what? 1 over what? X. So minus 42 times this, we have what? Minus times minus, it will become plus. 42 times 1, 42 over s. So we close the bracket, plus 29. So now this x minus 1 over x, we represent it as an alphabet. So when we represent it, we find a way to get this in terms of the alphabet. So let's represent this thing in this as p. Let s minus 1 over x equals to p. So when s minus 1 over x equals to p, so how do we get this? Squaring this, so p squared will now be what? When we square this, we know that we get this. Let's try. We have what? X minus 1 over x all squared, which is equal to x minus 1 over x again. So it's by expansion, but by expanding this, we have x times x, we have x squared. We have x times minus 1 over x, that is x minus, so we have what? Minus 1. Minus 1. Minus 1 over x times this, we also have minus 1. Minus 1 over x multiplied by this. That's minus 1 over x times minus 1 over x. We have what? Minus times minus, we have plus 1 over what? X squared. Right? So our p square will now be equal to what? P square will now be equal to x squared plus 1 over x squared minus minus, we have a minus 2. Alright? So now, and we are looking for this. This is what we are looking for. So what do? We make this the survey formula and we bring the 2 back here. We now have what? P squared minus 2. Minus will come here, it will become plus. Plus 2 equals what? X squared plus 1 over x squared. So we have our x squared plus 1 over x squared. We also have our what? X minus 1 over x. So we now insert this value p, we insert it here, insert this value, insert it here, we expand. So by inserting our value of what? X squared plus 1 over x and x minus 1 over x, so we have this. So now we expand. Now what? 8p squared plus 16 minus 42p plus 29. So we collect like that. We have what? 8p squared minus 42p, 29 plus this, we have 4. We have 45. So now this is a quadratic equation. We solve this quadratically. After solving quadratically, we get the value of p and we continue solving. So how do we solve it? Let's use our formula. We have p equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So my b is minus 42. Minus into bracket minus 42. Close bracket plus or minus square root of minus 42 squared minus 4 into bracket 8, which is my a, c, which is my 45, over 2 into bracket a. My a is 8. Now I have 42 plus or minus square root of minus 42 squared. I think we have minus 42 squared. We have 1764. 1764. So 1764 minus this will give me 1440 over what? 2 times 8, we have 16. So now I have my p to be equal to 42 plus or minus this minus this. I have 1764 minus 1440. I have a 324 over 16. So here I have 42 plus or minus, the square root of this is 18 plus or minus 16. So my p will now be equal to 42 plus 18 plus 18, that's 60 over 16, or 42 minus 18, 42 minus 18, that's 24 over 16. So I can have 4 in this place. I can have it as 4, and 4 in 60. I can have it as 15. I have this one as 15 over 4. Or I can, this place can have 2, or I can have 4 here, 4 here, 4 in this place, I have 6, so 2 in this place, I have 3 over 2. So my P is now equal to 15 over 22 over 4 or 3 over 2. So these two values of P we will collect to our P. Now we call that our P. We call P is what? X minus 1 over x. So now, and we have two values. We have P equals to 15 over 4 or 3 over 2. So we use both. So we can say when P is equal to 15 over 4, we can say 15 over 4 equals to x minus 1 over x, and this one is x, by what? X squared minus what? X in x 1 times 1 by 1 equals to 15 over 4. When we can multiply here, we have 4x squared minus 4 equals to 15x. We have 4x squared minus 4, or let's do this, we have minus 15x minus 4. This one quadratic equation. We get the value of x, and from the question we have our highest coefficient as what? X raised to the power 4. So that means we have to find 4 value of what? X. Now this is when P is 15 over 4. So when P is 3 over 2, I have 3 over 2 equals 15 over 4 equals x squared minus 1 over x. So we cross multiply, we have 2x squared minus 2 equals 3x. We have 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. So we can solve this quadratically. Let's use the quadratic formula for both. So this one will be minus what? Minus 15 plus or minus square root of what? Minus 15 square minus 4 into bracket. What is my A? 4, and my C is minus 4, right? So everything will what? 2 into bracket, my A 4. So now I have what? 15 plus or minus square root of my 15 square is 15 square minus 15 square. I have 225. So minus times minus, I actually have plus here. So 4 times 4 times 4, I have 64. So everything about 2 times 4 8. So I have what? 15 plus or minus 15 plus or minus square root of 289 over 8. So now I have 15 plus or minus 17 over 8. So I have what? 15 plus 17 over 8, or 15 minus 17 over 8, of which I will get two answers for x here, which I will see that s1 equals to 15 plus 17, that's 32 over 8. I have 4, s1 can be 4, so 15 minus 17, I have minus 2 over 8, x2 will be what? Minus 2 over 8, that is minus 1 over 4. So I already have x1, x2. I'm looking for x3, x4. So now I can also have this. Let's solve this quadratically. It will be what? Minus, it will be like a minus 3 plus or minus square root of minus 3 squared, that's 9. 4 minus 4 times 2 times this, minus times Okay, let me just set it minus 4, 2, minus 2. Let me turn that 2 into bracket 2. So I have what 3 plus or minus equal to what 9. 2 times this, we have what minus 4 times minus 4, that's 16. We have what 4. So I can have what 3 plus or minus square root of 25 over 4. I can have 3 plus or minus square root of 25 is 5 over 4. So which s, my s1 can be what 3 plus 5 over 4. But my x3 will now be 3 plus 5, that's 8 over 4, we have what 2. And my x4 will now be what 3 minus 5 over 4. 3 minus 5, we have minus 2. Minus 2 over 4, we have what? Minus 2 over 4, we have minus 1 over 2. So hence our 4 value of x is now x can be what? 4, comma 2, comma minus 1 over 4, comma minus 1 over 2. So these are the possible values of what x. So a reciprocal approach question can also come like this, but here you will notice something that what 5 is repeating itself, that one is repeating itself, 36 is also repeating itself, and we don't have any odd value. So now we don't know what to divide with. The first step is when we have something like this, and this question is like a reciprocal approach question because they are repeating themselves. So what we will do is that we first find a factor of this equation. So and we divide by the factor to get another equation like this is to the power of 5, which is the highest coefficient. So when we divide by a factor, we get something like x to the power 4 or x to the power 3 or something like that. So how do we get the factor? Using the factor theorem. So now we let our f of x to be, let's say when we try our x of x to be 1, if we input it and if it is equal to 0, then that means x equals to 1 is a factor. But if it is not equal to 0, that means it is not a factor. So now let our f of x equals to minus 1. We now have 5 into bracket root minus 1 raised to power 5 plus 31 into bracket minus 1 raised to power 4 plus 36 into bracket minus 1 raised to power 3 plus 36 into bracket minus 1 squared plus 31 into bracket minus 1 plus 5 plus what? So if it is equal to 0, so we can say our x equals to minus 1 is a factor. Now this one, it will be what? Minus 5, I guess. It will be minus 5. This one will be what? Minus 1 raised to 4, that's 1 plus 31. This one will be what? Minus 36. This one will be what? Plus 36. This one will be what? Minus 31. And this one will be what? 5. So we have our positive cancel negative here since they have the same value. That one cancel this, that is cancel this, hence we have what? 0. So now we can see that what? Our x, which is equal to what? Minus 1 is a factor. So we now bring this here. Now x plus 1, which is equal to 0. So this is also a factor. So we divide this equation here. We divide it by this. So we get another equation. So once we get another equation, we solve using reciprocal approach. Now let's divide. By dividing, we have what? 5x raised to power 5, our polynomial, that 1x raised to power 4 plus 36x raised to power 3 plus 36x raised to power 2 plus 31x plus 5. And we have our factor to be what? X plus 1. So now the first thing we have to do is divide, then we multiply, we subtract, and we bring down, so to get our final answer. So now x divided by this, we have what? 5x raised to the power 4. After this raised to the power 4 multiplied by this, we also have 5x raised to the power 5 multiplied by this plus 5x raised to the power 4. So the next thing we have to do is what? Is to subtract. So when we subtract, this one we cancel this. We have what? 0 here. We have 0 and minus. We have 31 minus 5. 31 minus 5, that's 26. I have what? Plus 26 x raised to the power 4. So then we bring down this 36 x raised to the power 3 plus 36 x raised to the power 2 plus what? That's 1 x plus what? 5. So now the next thing we will do is to what? To divide again. So dividing this again, we have what? X divided by this, we have plus 26 x raised to the power 3. 26 x raised to the power 3 multiplied with this, we have what? 26 x raised to the power 4 plus 26 x raised to the power 3. So we subtract again. When we subtract, this one will cancel this. We now have 36 minus 26, we have what? 10 x raised to the power 3. And we bring down this, we have 36x squared plus 31x plus 5. And we divide again. X divided by this, we have what? 10x squared. 10x squared. So when we multiply, we have what? 10x squared, x cubed plus what? 10x squared. So by subtraction, or by subtracting it, this one will cancel this. So 30 minus 10, we have 20 x squared, right? So this is 36. I have 26 x squared. So 26 x squared, we bring down this plus 31x plus 5. So we divide again. X divided by this, we have what? 26x plus 26x. 26x multiplied by this, we have what? 26x squared plus what? 26x. So we subtracting, this one will cancel this. So now be what? 31 minus 26, that is 5. So we now have what? 5x plus 5. So what do we do next? We divide again. X divided by 5x, we now have what? Plus 5. So 5 multiplied by this, we also have what? 5x. 5 multiplied by this, we have plus 5. So by subtracting, this one cancel this one cancel this one cancel this. So our remainder will not be equal to 0. So we now write our quotient. Our quotient will now be our next equation to solve. So our quotient will be our next equation to do. And recall that what? We already have x plus 1, which is a factor. So our first answer will now be what? X1 will now be equal to what? Minus 1. This is our first answer. So we are now looking for the remaining 4 answers. So let's write this quotient out. We have what? 5x raised to the power 4 plus 26x raised to the power 3 plus 10x squared plus 26x plus 5. So this equation like this is a reciprocal approach equation. So we have 5 here, we have 5 here, we have 26 here, we have 26, we have 10 here. So we divide 2 by the coefficient of the system to solve using the reciprocal approach. So now that we've gotten another equation, that is 5x raised to the power 4 plus 26x squared plus 10 x raised to the power 3 plus 10x squared plus 26 x is equal to 3s plus what 5. So now we notice that this is the reciprocal approach. 5 is repeating itself, 26 is repeating itself, but the only thing that is not repeating itself is 10. So we divide 2 by the coefficient of what 10. What is the coefficient of 10 there? It is x squared. We now say that y squared, y squared, y squared, y squared. So we are solving using reciprocal approach now. So now we have 5 s squared plus what 26 s plus what 10 plus what 26 over what x plus 5 over s squared. So now we can collect like that. We have 5 s squared here, we have s squared here. So now bring them together. 5s squared plus 5 over what s squared, okay, plus 26x plus 26 over what x, we have plus, so we have plus 10. Now let's factor out. We have 5 is common here, we have s squared plus 1 over x. We also have 26 is common, 26 into backward x plus what 1 over x. When we expand it, we get this thing back, so plus 10. Now we now make this x plus 1 over x, we make it to be a variable. Let's say x plus 1 over x, let's say it is equals to b, yes, or it's equal to p, any letter. So now, so we want to get it in a way that x will be what s squared, but what x squared here too. This one should be squared. So we want to get this one too, since this one is b now. So we want to get the value of this. Now let's square b. B squared will now be equal to what 1x plus 1 over what x, equal x plus what 1 over x. So now we now have b squared will now be x times x, we have x squared, x times 1 over x, that's what plus 1 plus 1 plus what 1 over x squared. So here we notice that we already have our what s squared plus 1 over s squared, of which we are looking for. So we now have our b squared. This is 2. We bring the 2 here to minus 2. It will now equal to what s squared plus 1 over what s squared. So the value of s squared plus 1 over s squared will now be b squared minus 2. So we now insert b squared minus 2 into this place, and for this one it will be what b. So we will still make reference to this, that recall that x plus 1 over x equals to b. So now we now insert this value, like it will now be 5 into bracket, this one is what b squared minus 2, b squared minus 2, close the bracket, plus 26 into bracket what b plus what 10. So now we expand. We have 5b squared minus 10 plus 26 b plus 10. This will cancel this. So we have 5b squared plus 26 b equals to 0. So what is common? We can bring b out. B into bracket with 5b plus 26 because when we expand we get this back. So now here we can say b equals to 0 or 5b plus 26 equals 0. So we can say 5b equals to minus 26 divided both sides by 5. So our b, second b will now be what? Minus 26 over 5. So we now recall our b is what? This. which is what? X plus 1 over what? X. And this one will give us our LCM is X. We have 1 here. So 1 in X, we have X. X times X, we have X squared. We have X squared. X in X, that's 1. 1 times 1, we have plus 1. So this is our B. We now equate it to, so our B will now be this now. Since our B is this, we now say that when B equals 0, when B equals 0, we now have X squared plus 1 over what? X equals what? 0. We now have something like, when this multiplied it will be 0, so it will now be what? X squared plus 1 equals 0. So our X squared will now be equal to what? Minus 1. Our X will now be equal to plus or minus square root of what? Minus 1. And you know that from complex number, square root of minus 1 is, it is I. So we now say plus I or minus I. So we already have 3 values of, so in complex number we have I squared equals to what? Equals to minus 1. So taking the root, now have what? I, since square will cancel this, so I will now be equal to what? Root minus 1. So that's why any place we have root minus 1, it is represented as what? As I. So now this is when B equals to 0, so we now solve when B equals minus 26 over 5. So now when B is minus 26 over 5, we now have our B here is what? X squared plus 1. X squared plus 1 over X. So we now equate it to be what? Minus 26 over 5. So cross multiply, we have 5x squared, okay, plus 5. I'm multiplying this into, it will be equal to what? Minus 26x. We now have 5x squared plus 26x plus 5 equals 0. So now using the quadratic formula, which is minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So we now have our b will now be what? 26. We now have minus 26 plus or minus square root of what? 26. Square root of 26 is 26 squared. 26 squared is 676 minus 4ac. So it will now be, these are a, these are c. So 5 times this, we have 25 times 4, that's 100 over 2a. 2 times 5, that's 10. Now minus 26 plus or minus square root of, when we subtract this, we have 576 or 10. So it will now be equal to minus 26. Square root of this is 24 plus or minus over 10. So here we now have our first x can be what? Minus 26 plus 24 over 10, or minus 26 minus 24 over 10. So this one will now be equal to what? Minus 2 over 10, right? Minus 2 over 10 is minus 1 over 5. And for this one, it will now be equal to what? Minus 26 minus 24, that's minus 50 over 10, or minus 5. Hence our value of x, since the power of x on the question is 5, so we have to get 5 value of x. The first answer is what? 1. No, minus 1. Our first answer is 1. 2. And the second answer is what? Let's see, plus I. Third one, minus I. Fourth, minus 1 over 5. Fifth, minus 5. So these are the value of what? X. So thank you for watching. Please like the video, comment and share with friends. Thanks.